my presentation is going to be on my increasing interest on child development. My interest was first sparked when I started working at Creative Learning about a year and a half ago, and I love it. It is a daycare center, and I was a little overwhelmed when I started working there about all the things that are involved in working at a daycare center. And the differences between each age group are amazing. It's something that I wanted to learn more about, and I'm hoping that my involvement with each age can improve now that I know a little bit more about each age group a little more. At Creative Learning Center, the ages are split up into different ages, and these are it. The infants are 6 weeks to 18 months. The toddlers are 18 months to 2.5 years. The tots, and then the 2s and 3s, the 4s and 5s, and the school age, which is 6 years to 12 years. Before I start my slideshow, I would like to say that I was informed this morning that they were having technical difficulties and the audio is not working, so if you'll just bear with me as I get to my videos, I can talk you through what's going on in my videos. Also, I'd like to say that I got permission from each of the kids' parents to have their pictures or videos in my slideshow. And with that, I am going to start with the infants. Because the infants has such a wide range of development, I have split it up into 3 groups. For the 6 weeks to 6 months, we have for language development, the baby coos and babbles. They also smile with a purpose. And they can also recognize familiar sounds and voices, like a mom, a dad, sister, brother, anyone that they're around a lot. Also, they have differential cries. You can tell by the tone in their voice if it's a need or if it's a want. Also for physical development, they can grasp their rattles, they can roll over from their stomachs to their backs, and they can also sit with support, either you holding them or a high chair or some type of support. For the 6 to 12 months for language development, we have they can wave bye-bye. A lot of our kids at work blow kisses. And they show interest in books. This is one of their favorite books at our daycare. It's the Barney Plays Nose to Toes game. And you show them what to do as an action, and then they follow you. It's really kind of a cool little thing. They are also starting to say, they're saying mama and dada. And a lot of the kids at our work attempt to say our names at that age. And for physical development, they reach for objects, and it goes usually straight to their mouth, since that's a way that they explore their surroundings. They can also roll both ways now, and they can sit along with their heads erect. For the 12 to 18 months language development, they respond to their names in simple one-step directions, like, Zoe, go get your blanket, please. They can also imitate noises, like vehicles and animals and things like that. For physical development, they can crawl well, they can pull into standing position, and they can walk while holding on to furniture, and some can even walk independently. And before I move on, I'm just going to say that these are just guidelines. Some kids mature sooner, some kids mature later. This is just a basic guideline. In the baby room, I'm going to show a couple of examples. This is Bella. Bella is 9 months old, and she is playing with our little oxygen float. She can sit alone by herself. She cannot quite stand yet, so I'm supporting most of her weight here. And Dylan can pull himself up at our ballet bar. This is a little project we did. It's like a little sensory project. We put paint out on the floor, and they just mess around with it. They get it between their fingers, and they're able to do whatever they want with it. It's kind of a neat little project. Another thing that we do is we teach them sign language, and this would be my first video. So here I am teaching, this is more, and Zoe's doing more, and then please, and thank you, and milk, and then eat, eat, and then that's about all. We're still teaching them you're welcome and a whole bunch of different little sign language that they can do when they're at the table or when they're just playing. With that, we can move on to the tots. For language development for the toddlers, they say about 50 words and understand way more. They can name familiar objects like a car, a truck, or a blanket. And they can use 2 to 3 word sentences like I want milk. For physical development, they walk well, they can stack blocks, and they can pick up objects without falling over, which is a really cool one because that's kind of big for that age. For the toddlers, they are also working on their fine motor skills. And as you can see in this picture with Brayden, we cut out a piece of paper and a crown and put a whole bunch of little glue dots on it so he can pick up the little jewel and set it on each of the blocks, which really helps with their fine motor skills. He's stacking blocks and pointing at his fish in the book. Brayden and I are making animal noises here. He makes a cow noise and a kitty noise and just a whole bunch of different animal noises. Now we'll move on to 2s and 3s. For 2s and 3s language development, they can respond to simple directions and they start to use plural and past tense. So instead of just saying block, they can say blocks and make it plural, and then they use past tense like we went to the park yesterday. They're learning those types of things now. They can also do they can also identify pictures with names, like if I ask Emma, where's the elephant? She could point on a picture where an elephant is. For physical development, they like to push things, pull things, fill and dump things. They like to play in our sandbox outside, and they can also walk backwards. In this video, Trista is pointing to the letters up on the board, and each of the kids they know a few letters, but not a lot. A lot of them know what starts with their name. So if your name is Carly, she points to the C and she's like, that's my letter. So they know those types of things, but not all of the letters yet. Also for the 4 to 5-year-olds, for language development, they recognize some letters, and they can name about 6 to 8 colors, and they can use 3 to 5 word sentences, like, may I use the potty? Things like that. Also, for physical development, they like to run, jump, hop, skip. They're full of tons of energy, and some can cut on the line with scissors, but that's a pretty big feat for that age. This is Emma, and she's naming certain things like a frog, and she's naming the frog, a sun, a truck, a popsicle, and a butterfly. Alright, and then in 4s and 5s, this is Riley, and she is coloring. And then another thing that they can do in 4s and 5s is I made some letter recognition cards, which will help them which will increase their knowledge in letter recognition. It's just a whole bunch of index cards with lower and uppercase letters. You can lay them out on the floor. We played a game, it's called Slap Letter. We laid them all out on the floor, and I would say P, and the first person to slap their hand down on the P would get that card, and then at the end of the game, whoever had the most was the winner. We also do that with our sight words. We lay them all out on the 4s and 5s room, and then we do the same thing. This is the boys, and they're playing Slap Word with me. They were listening so intently to my instructions. It was very sweet. In the school age, they recognize their rights and lefts. They have increased problem-solving skills, which is why I made this little math game. It's a whole bunch of water bottle lids, and I cut out pieces of construction paper and wrote a whole bunch of numbers and addition, subtraction, equal signs, and even sometimes in multiplication and division things, just to get them started on those, so they can make their own little math equations, which is kind of a cool thing. They also have increased interest in reading, which is why I made up this. I got up this idea. It's an adjectives, noun, and verbs game. And I wrote a whole bunch of different adjectives, nouns, and verbs on popsicle sticks, and they can separate them into each cup the way that it's supposed to be. Also, for the school age, for physical development, they can tie their shoes, and they have increased hand dexterity, which means that they can control pens and pencils pretty easily. And they also have a good sense of balance. One other thing that we do, I hear, I don't know what to do, or I'm bored in the school age a lot, so we came up with this little word jar and got a whole bunch of ideas off the internet of things to put in. One of them is like write a letter and things like that. Also for the school age, we have the letters. We have letter numbers and actual numbers for like 15, 12. You have to find the actual number and match it with the letter number. So 15 and 15 and 12 and 12 and so on. Here is Kaya, and she is playing the adjective, noun, and verb game. And Kaya actually didn't know what an adjective, noun, or verb was, so I got to teach her what it was, and then she got to apply her skills in this game, which was kind of a cool thing. And Kylie is reading. She liked playing my math game. She thought that was kind of cool. The boys are playing their Legos. And then she's balancing. That's Haley. For resources, I used the Iowa State Extension handouts, the Creative Learning Classroom Resource Book, the Creative Learning Parent Handout, Personal Experience, and then Pinterest. I love watching and helping these kids learn and grow every day. I hope that this presentation has increased your knowledge on the infants, the toddlers, the 2s and 3s, and the 4s and 5s, language and physical development. And I hope that it can help you to apply some knowledge with kids that you live around. At this time, I will be answering any questions if there are any.
Amanda, has this work experience affected your future plans?
She asked if this work experience has affected any of my future plans. And it really has. I love, love, love working with these kids. And it just makes me really happy to see them learning and growing every day. So I think I may be looking into something with either teaching or counseling for kids in that age. So I would really, really love that.
Of the various ages of children, is there one particular group you enjoy working with?
Yeah, I really, really love the school age. Yeah, I used to work in the infants all the time, and I really liked that while I was in there. And then I realized the school age can actually talk to you, and you can make friends with the kids and be able to make a relationship with them, which is really cool. Any more questions? Awesome, thank you very much.